Good morning, everyone, and we'll make a start. It's 10 a.m. on Thursday the 16th of October 2025, and I would like to welcome you all to the Rural and Communities Overview and Scrutiny Committee. My name is Councillor Nicky Mansfield, and I'm the Chairman of Rural and Communities. And to the left is my Vice Chair, Councillor Ray Rayside. To my right is Democratic Service Officer Josh Mann, whose birthday is today. Sorry, Josh. We are not expecting the fire alarm to sound today. If the alarm goes off, please leave the building by the nearest exit, the main staircase at the back of the chamber. The assembly point is on the green in front of SK House. Please can you ensure that mobile phones are switched off or turned to silent and away from the microphones for the duration of the meeting. Please be aware that this meeting is being recorded and being live streamed via Public Eye on the Council's website. Please can you also ensure that your microphones are turned off when others are speaking. I would like to welcome all councillors, officers and public who are joining our meeting today. We will now begin to work our way through today's agenda. Item number 1, public speaking. Do we have any members of the public today, Josh?
Thank you, Chairman. No public speakers today.
Lovely. Well, not lovely, but thank you. Item 2, apologies for absence. Do we have any?
Thank you. I've received apologies from Councillor Richard Dixon-Warren and Councillor James Denniston. Councillor Charmaine Morgan will be subbing for Councillor James Denniston. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Item number 3 is disclosure of interest. Members are asked to disclose any interest in matters for consideration at the meeting. And you can do this now, or you can do this as we work through the agenda. We've got any currently? No? Lovely. Item number 4 is the minutes of the meeting held on the 9th of July. This is for accuracy of the information rather than any typos. Any comments? No? I propose that they're fine. Are you happy to second, Councillor Harrison? Thank you. Can we have a vote on that, please, if we're all happy? Any against? Or any abstentions? Lovely. That's okay. Any update? Agenda item 5, updates from the previous meeting. Josh, can I ask you to guide us here, please? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So just looking at the action sheet that was included within your pack, the action for the customer service update out in 24-25, that's been included within today's agenda within item 7, so you'll be given an update on that today. The items from the actions from the Health and Wellbeing Action Plan and Friendly Communities update, they're going to have to be provided at the next meeting. That's regarding the voids and the Head of Economic Development. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. So the updates will come, committee. We'll just discuss them in December. Okay. Item number 6 is announcements or updates from the Leader of Council, Cabinet members or the Head of Paid Services. I haven't received any. I'm just looking at our Cabinet member that's present to see if we've got any updates. Nope, that's lovely. Thank you. Item number 7, customer service update, quarter 1. So I'm just going to hand over to Councillor Knowles to present this, please. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Chair. As it says, this is the customer service update for quarter 1. And the committee is recommended to note the report and provide feedback on the information contained in the report. It is a report of what's happened. Later in the agenda, we'll be looking at some of the customer service elements for what is about to come. That's under item 9. But here we're looking at quarter 1. And the report provides the committee with an update regarding customer interactions within the customer service team and high contact service areas for quarter 1 25-26. In comparison to quarter 1 24-25, been a reduction in telephone interactions of 5,017. This is to be expected. Some of this will be due to the movement of interactions to the website and online portals, but it is also because of the volume of contact for twin bins last year. Digital channel access has increased by 126,331. The customer service team continue to promote the use of the website and online portals. For the majority of council tax transactions, the portal is the most efficient way to contact the team, with customers receiving updated council tax bills within 24 to 48 hours. The council tax portal has generated 85,638 transactions since it was launched in June 2024. It sounds like an enormous number of transactions to be dealt with, doesn't it? This is of the volume of work that customer service put in. There are 6,943 households registered to use the portal, of which 99.73% are registered for e-billing. I'm not included in that. I'm not a big user of the portals, however. It is pleasing to report that call handling in the time reported is 83%, which is above the service standard of 80%. But it's worth noting that this has increased in August to over 90%. It's gone up to 94%, so it's an improving trend. As a request at the last committee meeting, officers have included information to website feedback and improvements. This information is detailed in paragraph 215 to 220 of the report. That was a request from this committee. Extensive analysis is undertaken where the customer has provided negative feedback and has left a comment, which, during October 2023 to August 2025, resulted in 67 actions being taken. The common areas of feedback are detailed in paragraph 219. Finally, last week, the customer service team and wider members of the team, SK, took time to take part in National Customer Service Week to recognise the importance of customer excellence. It was an excellent week in many ways. The one disappointment was the lack of enthusiasm, the lack of attendance, perhaps from the members. Perhaps it was a wrong day or a bad day or whatever, but the members' attendance was quite abysmal. There was a great opportunity to celebrate the vital role our customer service plays for business, residents and communities, and remember that customer service is at the heart, or should be, it is at the heart of what our teams do. Feedback is being gathered from our customer experience champions, which now are meeting regularly and will be used to help drive services forward. I commend the report to you and ask you to consider it and make any recommendations that you feel appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Knowles. I'd just like to ask, in table 1, it's probably in there and I've missed it, but what does IVR stand for? Or what's that? We've got the virtual operator and then IVR. I might be missing something. Sorry, Claire.
No, that's fine, no problems. That's where the customer can come through and then they get the option to press 1, press 2 for the service area.
Thank you. Sorry. Any comments or questions? Councillor Harrison?
Thank you, Chair. If you can bear with me because I've left me printed questions at the office, so I'm having to go through my notes. I've got a couple of questions. The report highlights as a shift to 89% digital contact with an 83% call answering rate. But it doesn't show the average answer times or how vulnerable residents are supported. And as Councillor Knowles was there saying, he doesn't actually use this tool. So how are we supporting people like that on there? What assurance can we get that the digital shift isn't including those who rely on that face-to-face interaction, if you see what I mean? And how is performance being monitored to offer them the clear service standards that they deserve as well? So that's question 1. And then question 2 was the 69% feedback there, 69% saying they didn't find the page useful, and we've took action on 6% of those, I think. How can we work more closely with that? How can we find? Because I noticed there that they were saying that some of them weren't leaving enough information as to why it wasn't useful. Do we have any way that we can get back in contact with them and find why it wasn't useful, or what are we doing to find out why they are saying it wasn't useful? That's 2 questions from me. Thank you.
Claire, are you happy to take those? Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. So with regards to the average, that is an average for the quarter, so the 83% is an average. We do break that down into number of seconds from when a call is abandoned, starting at 16 seconds through to 120 seconds. So there is a breakdown. We can see, where that is in increments. With regards to the digital shift, we are very mindful, and we've taken feedback from the customer experience consultation, feedback from staff and also from the members' workshop, that although we do want to shift digitally, we also know that we've got customers that still need that face-to-face support, still do want that telephone offer. So we will make sure that we get that balance. Digital is about being leaner in the services that we can provide and how customers contact us. It isn't about literally shifting everybody to a digital point of contact. That's explored further in the Customer Experience Strategy Action Plan, which is a bit further on in the agenda. With regards to the second question, the 69%, 63% of those, sometimes the feedback is one word, and sometimes the feedback is that they want contact information. The contact information is at the bottom of the page. Where they haven't left their information, then unfortunately there is no way of us being able to go back to them and ask for that. Those residents that have left their contact details, they do get a response, so 100% of those will get a response. If it is positive, obviously we'll thank them for leaving their positive comments. If it has resulted in a change being made to the website, we'll explain what change has been undertaken. If a change hasn't been taken, again, we will explain why.
Thank you. Councillor Morgan?
Thank you. Thank you. I noticed on page 19 on the table, the total walk-ins, there's quite a change. Grantham has gone from 79, 24, 25 up to 248 appointments on 25, 26. That's quite a shift. Have we got, what's the resource impact as far as where our officers are concerned on that? How are we managing that? There's not a great deal of difference in the general walk-ins, but appointments, that is quite some difference. So I'd be quite interested to hear about that. And then picking up Councillor Harrison's point, I was at Health Scrutiny yesterday, and there were some interesting stats about GP access, because there was a similar sort of issue. And 20% of our population in this area actually have no qualifications at all. So it kind of starts, doesn't mean everybody can't read, but it starts to make you think it's not just about ability, it could be about literacy skills as well. So that's quite a significant number of people in the community who might still be relying on that face-to-face.
Claire, are you happy to take these?
Thank you, through you, Chairman. With regards to the appointments, one of the key reasons is because we've moved out from the old customer service centre at the Guildhall. Appointments there, we didn't have a great space. Let's be fair about that. So the customer service centre now is very much about an appointment. We do offer the walk-in, but the appointments are advertised, so they're open from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. The customer service team very much encourage people to come in for appointments. So if they do telephone and they want follow-up, then they will encourage them to come in and to see that service area specifically. Housing have the larger number of appointments because of the complexities of enquiries that we have coming through. But we are actively promoting for customers to come in and actually see somebody face-to-face now that we've got that great space in the customer service centre.
Of course, yes.
Thank you. I've had a query come up regarding follow-up where we call out to respond to a customer request. Do we know what that actually looks like on our clients' phones? Whether it would be our number that's calling back, or is it a number barred or anything like that?
Claire? Sorry.
That's all right, thank you, through you, Chairman. So the number would come up with our contact telephone number, so the 40 60 80 number, so that they know it's the council ringing them.
That's good to know, because I often have to say it'll be caller withheld, please answer, when we, in my profession, are contacting on mobile phones, which is frustrating. But so I'm pleased that we're identified. Councillor Leadenham?
Yeah, I mean, I see there's a 20% drop in the physical calls into the council, but then the website's gone up dramatically of website hits ever since it's been redesigned. I mean, the only feedback I'm getting where public are, I mean, it's definitely more navigable than the old system was, but I still get a lot of complaints reference when they go on to things like the planning portal and all the rest of it, where it's not accepting all the data. And that is my biggest bone of contention I get from residents, especially with all the planning what's going on, that they're not getting their comments thing. I mean, are we looking to increase certain areas of the website to make it more easier for our residents to submit all their comments?
Thank you, through you, Chairman. So the planning portal is hosted by, or it's a third-party system, so we don't have any control over the usability of that system, but we'll certainly take on board the feedback. With regards to the website, we do have various officers across the council who undertake work on it. So we've got members from IT, comms, customer service, and also the service areas. What we would like to do is be able to join that work up so that we can have somebody that can coordinate those activities, so that we can be even more, not just responsive, but also look at the analytics of the use of the website, so that can actually drive customer improvement. And again, that's one of the key actions in the technology priority within the experience strategy.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? No, we're all happy. Thank you for bringing the report, Claire. I think it is just for noting. Let me just look. Yeah. So if there's no other comments, we'll move on. Thank you. Agenda item 8 is Welfare and Finance Advice Team update. Claire, I believe you're presenting this one as Councillor Moran's not very well. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. So the report provides an update regarding Household Support Fund Scheme for 25-26 and the wraparound support which is provided by the Welfare and Financial Advice Team. Whilst the report does reference Q1, the information for household support funding is up until the 22nd of September, and that's because the fund didn't actually open until the 4th of August. So I just wanted to make sure that I was able to update you on the key activities regarding that fund. So the welfare team have issued 476 vouchers in that short space of time, £66,000 of household support fund vouchers and £123,000 of additional wraparound support. Details of that are in paragraph 2.2 and 2.17. Areas of support include discretionary housing payment, discretionary council tax support funding, and also support regarding white goods, furniture, and also funding from third sectors. Third sector organisations have also identified distribution for household support fund, and they've issued £29,000 for 207 residents. The breakdown of voucher types is detailed in paragraphs 2.8 and 2.10. So you can see that for the third sectors, for ourselves and also Lincolnshire Community Foundation are also supporting those residents that are in work, and the breakdown of the vouchers are for food, wider essentials and energy. The team are also achieving the activities that are included within the action plan, which starts at page 31 of the pack. And also, I'm very pleased to advise that at the last committee I advised that the Crisis Resilience Fund had been announced and we weren't sure what was happening with that. So the decision has been taken that the merge of the funding for discretionary housing payment and the Household Support Fund will be undertaken as a phased approach. So continuing up to the 1st of April or 31st of March 2028, the two funds will continue as they are. So South Kesteven will continue to receive the discretionary housing payment and the Household Support Fund will continue to go to County Council and then distributed down to the districts, which works very well at the moment. From the 1st of April, the funding for discretionary housing payment is potentially likely to move across to the unitary or the upper tier councils, which is in line with the relevant council's local government reorganisation schedule. So if that schedule isn't the 1st of April 2028 for South Kesteven, then it's very likely that the discretionary housing payment will continue to come into South Kesteven. We will ensure that we continue to monitor that, and I've actually got a meeting, or I'm attending a meeting next week with regards to an update as to the work that's been done so far, and I'll be included in any future updates after that point. The Household Support Fund vouchers now has closed, so for me and Stella, the team will be ensuring that other support is available as part of the winter support pack. So we do have the warm welcome pack, which is being administered by the Jubilee Centre. So information will be provided regarding that. We have the Warm Welcome Space website, which has been updated with all warm welcome spaces available across the district. And there is some other funding that is due to be released next month. Once I've got more details with that, I will ensure that there is an update that goes out to all members through our Democratic Services team. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Any comments? Charmaine Morgan?
Thank you. I've had to refer a few folk to the team, and I will have to say thank you so much, because each time they've had a really good support. So thank you so much for that. It's made all the difference to them. If I may, a couple of questions. I noticed, just out of interest, that when we look at our third-party organisations, and in fact Lincolnshire Community Foundation, the vouchers that are going out don't include, they seem to focus on food, but there's no energy or wider household essential vouchers going out there. I just wondered, is there potentially a lack of awareness, or is it to do with the nature of those organisations? If I just stop there for a moment and then I'll come back.
Claire?
Thank you, through you, Chairman. They are at the request of the customer, so we are seeing that that's where the majority of the need is. We know from the local food banks that that need is there. I would expect to see the energy requests increasing in January when the fund reopens, so we will see a shift in the type of request in the new year.
It's just a general point, really. I'm not sure how we deal with this, but I'm still getting requests for help with carpeting, especially people on very low incomes are moving. And I wondered if there's have we put any thought into how we might be able to support that? I know there's no legal duty at the moment for us to do that, but I'm very conscious it makes all the difference to quality of life for our residents. Is there anything we could look at or have looked at around that?
Claire?
Thank you, through you, Chairman. Unfortunately, that it is outside scope of the Household Support Fund, so it's very clear from DWP that those three categories of the food, energy and wider household essentials, certainly for our own residents, and I don't want to step on any toes, but that potentially could be something through Housing OSC, and I appreciate we've got the chairman of the OSC here as well. We know that there's something that is an area of concern for residents. Where we can help, and we are giving vouchers for food, then obviously that voucher of that sum, they're not then having to spend on food, so they can potentially, if they've got that money, to be able to use elsewhere. But as I say, it's not included in scope with this scheme.
Thank you. I'm just going to let Councillor Steptoe come in, Tim, and then I'll come to you.
Thanks very much, Chair. Yeah, all I can say on that is, and I'm meaning this to be a positive comment, so purely anecdotally, I've been involved in trying to support some of my tenants in Earlsfield Ward, and as has been explained very succinctly by Claire, there is no mandatory claim around carpets, but I've been involved in individual cases that have been taken literally by the housing department on a case-by-case basis where carpets have been paid for. So it absolutely does happen. I wish there was a magic money tree to provide carpets. Unfortunately, there isn't at this moment in time, but I can just assure this committee that when requests come in, because I've been personally involved in pressing for them, that carpets have been paid for in the past, including the pretty recent past. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Harrison?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just a couple of questions for clarification for me, please. We've basically got a Q1 report where the main funding taps weren't turned on yet, basically. That's understandable, timetable-wise, but it means that the delivery really only starts in Q2. I think it's our job to get assurance that we'll still deliver the full allocation in the right months without a rush at the end or gaps where people might slip through. So if we can have that, please. And then, because this scheme is changing, are we all geared up for that pivot at that time? Is everything in place for that scheme changing? So again, that nobody slips through.
Claire?
Thank you, through you, Chairman. So the Q2 is the household support fund, so assurance to members we absolutely were supporting residents during Q1. The majority of the £123,000 of wraparound support was provided during Q1. So the team are actively supporting that. The delay, unfortunately, is usually because the guidance and eligibility isn't released until later in Q4. Then we have to go through the conversations and the meetings with the county and other districts with regards to the distribution of the funding, the eligibility, and then we seek internal approval for our scheme. So we usually go live in sort of mid-Q2. Q3, as I mentioned, we'll see winter support, and then in Q4 we'll open up again for household support fund. We would never have a situation where we have funding remaining that can't be used either in the following year, or we can change how the use of that is. We have been able to roll funding into the new year, and that does tend to support that wraparound support that then starts in Q1. This year, the change to the scheme has been around proactive activities. We don't know yet what the DWP will say with regards to the change for next year. Yeah, hopefully we'll know more when we come back to the next committee, so I'll be able to provide an update hopefully at that point.
Thank you, Claire. Any other comments or questions? No, all happy? Lovely, we'll move on. Thank you ever so much, Claire, for bringing that. Agenda item 9 is customer experience strategy action plan. So I'm going to go to Councillor Knowles to present this, please. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This is the customer experience strategy going forward. Under item 7, we looked at the past information about the past and the achievements of this unit, and now we're looking at it going forward. It had its customer National Customer Service Week was last week, and that was very successful. Now we're looking to create a strategy and an action plan to take this forward over the next 5 years, but specifically with plans for the next 6 months or 12 months. This customer experience strategy was approved by Cabinet on the 7th of October, and we'll be a living and breathing document. It won't just be put in a drawer and left to rot. The action plan, which is appended to this report and is on page 79, has been produced to support the continued development of the Council's customer focus in the coming years, the customer being the focal point of all our activities. The plan is split into 5 priorities within the strategy, with the activities during 2025-26 focusing on the explore phase. This work will determine which activities need to be taken forward and what resources needed, and any budget implications there may be in doing so. And there will be a campaign with the Cabinet to make sure that budget resources are provided to this unit in order to take its plans forward, its strategy forward. The activities for 26-27 and beyond will move from explore to implement, with a new action plan being devised for this period. And this will involve lots of people, not just a small unit of 2 or 3 people. This will involve lots of areas who work together in order to put these plans into place. They will be linked to the relevant service plans and staff appraisals. The Customer Service Manager will be leading on the coordination of activities within the action plan and will ensure there is a collaborative approach with support from all service areas to help pave the way in ensuring that we put the customer at the heart of everything we do and continue to provide a positive customer experience. And let me at this stage thank the efforts for both these reports of Claire and Nicola in particular, but their teams who've worked very hard in providing the successes that our customer service unit have achieved over the last 12 months. And they work very hard. And I want to say, when I'm having discussions with them, they're forward-looking. They're always proactive. They're not just sitting back and reacting to things that are happening. They're looking forward to things that might happen in order to plan for events, and they do that very successfully as well. So I congratulate them and thank them for their efforts, and I'll submit the report to you, Chair, for your consideration.
Thank you, Councillor Knowles. I kind of want to echo what Councillor Knowles has just said. I read the document and I'm just so impressed. It's so positive. But if I may, I'm just going to kind of comment that I'm really pleased to see that our customer is our kind of main priority. That's exactly it. That's what we're here for, end of. But also, what I was really impressed with, that the customer charter's in there as well, and what our expectation is back. You know, that our staff should be also protected. So I'm just really thrilled reading the whole document, at how it's laid out, it's easy to read, and yeah, thank you. I'll just echo the thanks of the, you know, of all the team that's involved. So, any other comments or questions from the committee? Councillor Harrison?
Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a bit of a hark back to the other one, really, the other question I did. Before we commit to these, you know, telephony and the chatbots and all that thing, will we have some safeguard for the user? So the inclusivity on that, again, as I was talking about earlier, about the people that are struggling with that. So I'm interested. Will there be some testing done with those, for want of a better word, vulnerable people that might be using it?
Claire?
Thank you, you, through you, Chairman. Absolutely. I think what we've found through this whole process is that we've really enjoyed the consultation that's taken place, being able to involve all of our residents, the businesses, all of the stakeholders. This is the explore phase, so this is very much the infancy of the next 5 years. So anything that we want to bring in, yes, we want to be able to have user groups, we want to be able to maybe even look at residents to stress test, break whatever it is that we're looking at wanting to implement, so that we can ensure that the use by the customer is there, that it's a user-friendly system, whatever it is that we might bring in, and also ensure that we've got all of our service areas involved in that. Nicola has met with the customer experience champions last week. They make up all of the service areas that are not just front-facing, but also our support services as well. So we have got a number of stakeholders already involved in that, but yeah, we do want to extend that as much as is reasonably possible.
Thank you, Claire. That's great to hear, because I think that's where the frustrations lead. If you actually can't access it, or there is a glitch somewhere, I think we've all been in the situation where, either on a chat box or trying to ring someone, that you just get so frustrated. So to actually involve our residents in that, and I think that's great. I think we're nailing it this time. So thank you. Councillor Morgan.
Thank you. My only, there's loads of work's gone into this, so thanks to everybody involved. It's just really involving the members as well, because I noticed there's reference to training the staff. I think it's really important members understand what's going on and where to go as well. So just making that point, really. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Rayside.
Thank you. I'd like to echo the sentiments of everyone that I'm really pleased with the report. A lot of work has gone into it, and as always, the team delivers. And Nicola, thank you, because you're doing an excellent job leading the team. I do have one question, and I'm sure Claire has the answer to this. As we're putting the customer first, how will we learn from complaints and any FOIs, and how would that feed back into the continuous improvement?
Claire?
Thank you, through you, Chair. So we do have a process at the moment, our feedback process. So we already look at the ability to contact the council, because that's something that we were looking at as part of the call handling. And we do want to work with our support team who manage our feedback process, so that we can start looking at that, looking at what lessons have been learnt. Service areas do that anyway as part of the day-to-day, but we definitely want to pull that in as part of the strategy and moving that forward, and again taking on board that feedback to help to improve and have those conversations with the experienced champions.
Lovely, thank you. Any other?
Sorry, I haven't spoken enough, have I? There was just one thing that I wanted to say, in that priority 3, the accessibility and inclusion, that I think pulls in a lot of the concerns and activities that have been echoed in the chamber today. So accessibility and inclusion was quite a key theme in the feedback from customers. Carol was very instrumental in supporting with this part of the action plan, so thank you to Carol Drury, our Community Engagement Manager, for helping with this. And again, I'd like to think that this does support Councillor Harrison's concerns, if I may say it's concerns, with regards to the vulnerable customers, and that those customers are being considered as part of the actions within the strategy.
That's great. Thank you for that reassurance, Claire. Yeah, Councillor Ray.
I also remember in the workshop we did, I think it was last week, that I think I raised in that meeting that if someone has a disability and they're struggling, that we can offer them an appointment to bring them in so that they can have that further support going forward. Am I correct in saying that?
Claire?
That's okay, yeah, that's absolutely correct, yeah. So any customer that wants to come in and have support, then they're more than welcome to. We've got the Customer Service Centre, obviously, in Grantham. We do have the customer contact point in Bourne as well. So the space in Bourne is less than it is in Grantham because of the footfall that we get there, and it's predominantly the library service. So if customers are able to come into Grantham, we do have the interview room as well. So if they do want a private space, they can have that as well. But any customer that wants to come in face to face, as I say, we're not turning them away and getting them to use other mechanisms. There's all kinds of channels that they can use to access us.
Councillor Morgan.
Thank you. Just made me think, do we offer in exceptional circumstances site visits where they can't come out and they clearly aren't going to be able to do what we need over the phone? Do we offer to visit them? Something I know the health community is very much doing, care in the community, going outreach. Do we actually offer that?
Claire?
That would be on a service-by-service basis. Certainly housing do, our income recovery team for our rent team do. We don't find that we get a lot of requests for home visits, but if that was needed, then service areas would be able to undertake that. We do have Shine Lincolnshire who are coming into the service from the 30th of October, the Thursday, and they are part of the connecting communities. So Joe from Shine Lincolnshire will actually be here from 10 until 3. So I know you were saying if people can't come in, but if they do come in and there's that additional support that's needed, then again Joe is able to pick that up and support with that as well.
Thank you. Did you want to come back, Councillor?
I just want to be a bit naughty. So we have our location in Grantham and we have our location in Bourne. You know where I'm going with this. For our residents in Market Deeping or anywhere who may struggle, are we considering more options and availability to be able to come in to a location in Stamford and Market Deeping for the benefit of the detained?
Claire?
Thank you, through you, Chairman. So we did do a piece of work, I think it was last year, to have a look at the postcodes of the people that come into the offices to see where they're actually coming from, and very few were from the Stamford and Deeping areas. We do find that if people do need to come into the offices, then they will go to the Bourne office. The feedback isn't giving us any concern that those residents aren't able to contact us in an appropriate way. However, as part of the experience strategy, we will continue to undertake customer feedback. It will be potentially in the way that we have done formally, also looking at informal feedback mechanisms of people that come in and the people that contact us. But as things stand at the moment, we're not receiving that feedback that warrants us to look at those two areas for face-to-face.
Thank you so much, Claire. Any other comments? No? Again, I think this was just for noting, so the committee's happy. Thank you very much. Agenda item 10, the Equality, Diversity, Inclusion Annual Position Statement 2024. I believe Councillor Knowles is going to present this.
I am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. As you will gather, I am substituting for the leader on this item, and you have before you the draft Equality, Diversity Annual Position Statement for 2024-25. I think a lot of people are thanking our officers for their contributions to all these documents, I think, but I should thank in particular Carol for this, because it's her baby, and she has produced some notes for me to use, and we thank her for it. This document is a retrospective and is produced in accordance with our legal duties under the Public Sector Equality Duty, which requires us to publish information to show how we comply with the Equality Act 2010. we are quite required to publish information relating to our workforce and the communities we serve. The document provides background on the Council's responsibilities under the public sector equality duty and our equality objectives, a profile of the district and demographics that is made up of the census of 2021, information and Office for National Statistics mid-year population estimates. It also does, the document also provides a small insight into how we have continued to support our staff and customers. And finally, the position statement provides workforce statistics. You'll see that wherever possible, a comparison with the district's demographic has been provided. The document is brought to you in draft form to allow for input from this committee. If members have any questions or comments prior to formal recommendations being made, we're happy to take them through the chair. Thank you very much indeed, and thank you, Carol.
Thank you very much, Councillor Knowles. Any comments or questions? I've just got one myself, if I may start. Sorry, Carol. It's just about the data. 2011? No, 2021, I was right. Seems quite an old one to be doing it for this year, if that makes sense. Because I would say that it says, I'll get there in a minute, on page 102, that many people of diverse nationalities and ethnicities have made their home here. And then it lists the top 10. I would say that that's a bit changeable. And it probably has changed since then. Is this the data that we have to use?
Thank you. So it's the data that's available to us. So in previous times, the Office for National Statistics beyond the census would have published quite generic updates to statistics about people's nationalities, you know, where they've come from. And when I say generic, what I mean is it wouldn't be country by country, which it is at the time of the census. It would be continent by continent. And in many ways, that doesn't really help us either because it doesn't break it down enough for us to know. So the top 10 that are listed at the back, where it tells people that the information is available to them in whatever format they require it, has actually changed this time. So we do continue to monitor it, even though, as it says, the general information that we use is from the last census, which was 2021, but the Office for National Statistics does do a mid-year population estimate. That's usually a year behind where we're at, and we change it accordingly. And what will happen, members will notice, because obviously we bring this to you on an annual basis, but members will notice that the figures potentially might go up and up and up and up and up between a census, and then at the time of the next census, will come back down again, because it is exactly what it says on the tin. It's an estimate.
Lovely. Thank you, Carol. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Harrison?
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple. I noticed there that our workforce, 45% are not providing information. What effect does that have on how you collate everything then and how you work your plans going forward? And then the other one, on the SK population, I don't know whether it's just a misprint, I can only see 82% there, 75% heterosexual, 5% not stated, and 1%. So it doesn't add up to 100%. Is that a misprint there? Or not quite sure.
Carol?
Can I just check which data? That one. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So to answer your first question, the 45% who in one way or another don't provide information, obviously this is a person's information to give whether they choose to. It is their choice. We can't mandate that. But what the reason for doing the comparison is to try and make sure that our workforce is representative of the communities that we serve. Now, that's not always going to happen. If you look at the age group data, we're obviously never, from the bottom end, going to be have a clear comparison. And from the top end of the age groups, we're not going to have a clear comparison, because people under 16 don't work, and people over whatever age they want to don't work. It's their choice when they retire. So you can't always get a clear one with that. But as much as possible, it's used so that we can just, and if there is something identified within those statistics that say we're underrepresented, male to female, potentially age groups, etc., then we can actively seek to address that in recruitment practices. So that's the whole purpose of doing that. In terms of the figures that are reported, that will simply be that the figures that are below what are stated within that pie chart are so small that they don't amount to a percentage. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Steptoe.
Thank you very much. Through you, Chair. Carol, I'm going to be a little bit mischievous and play devil's advocate. If there is a possibility that if there were councillors here today of, let's just say, a different political persuasion, they may or may not, I think they would, cast aspersions on why we're doing this. I understand fully why we're doing it. We're complying for a start with the 2010 Equalities Act. But what would you say to them? Thank you.
Only if you wish to,
Yeah.
Carol.
Yeah, of course.
Councillors, I would say this. It is a legal duty, so whether we want to do it or not, and why wouldn't we want to do it, we have to do it. The Equality Act is not about giving preferential treatment to anybody. It's not about giving advantage to anybody. It's about creating a level playing field. It's about being fair. And if my response to anybody that thinks that the Equality Act is not for them, I would say look to the protected characteristics of the Equality Act. There are 9 of them, and every single person, regardless of who they are, fits into at least 5. It is about us all, and so we do have a legal duty. My personal opinion, and I may just have overstepped the mark, but my personal opinion is we have a moral duty too.
Well said, Carol. If I can just reiterate, that's exactly how I feel personally, whether I'm sat in this chamber or not. So thank you for that. Councillor Steptoe?
Yeah, yes. I just genuinely want to thank you for the answer. Genuinely, thank you.
Councillor Rayside?
Yes, Carol, thank you for your very well put response. I just want to comment on page 110. This is something that I've been commenting on for the last year, and I'm really pleased to see that we have a page that says it's available in other languages, but more importantly, that it's available in large print, braille, and audio form. So I've been on about this, and I'm really pleased to see it. Thanks.
Carol?
Can I just reassure members that documents, other than forms, documents right across this council are available in alternative formats if people require them under the Equality Act, and always have been.
Lovely, thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Morgan?
It was thinking about the balance of the makeup of the staff in the council. One of the things I think that could be influencing that is the fact, and I think it's a really good thing, is that we actually have a pretty steady workforce, in the sense that we have people who have been working for the council for a long time, and therefore if you've got fairly fluctuations in people moving into the area and then out of the area, that won't necessarily therefore be reflected. I don't know how much of an impact it makes, but I'm sure there is some impact there.
Carol, did you want to comment?
hard to, isn't it? What I would say is, yes, you're right. We do have a steady workforce, and but we also make changes where changes are necessary. So, for example, at one point, 1 year, doing this particular document, one of the things, particularly around age groups of people that was noted, was that we didn't have a high proportion of younger people working in the council, and of course now we've got such an extensive apprenticeship scheme that I will just add very quickly is not just about young people, it's for people of any age that can do an apprenticeship, but it did start the ball rolling with us introducing more young people, so we can try to address things through collating this information in the first place.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just actually, it's funny you said that, Carol, I was just going to say about the pages that say supporting our staff, because while we are here for our residents, this is also really important. And I just love the fact that we've got equality and inclusion, and that we've got the wellbeing, the first aiders, the whole spectrum is identified and acknowledged, and I know it works. So again, a bit of a thank you really, but it's nice to see it in the document as always. So thank you. Any other comments or questions? Then I would like to note the draft, and then I would like to recommend, and I do think I need a vote on this one, to the Leader of the Council, or his standby Phil, that publishes the information at the earliest opportunity. So can I propose that, please? And I think Councillor Rayslade will second. May we? Or what, should I wait for Councillor Steptoe to get back? Of course.
You know, I think everyone sat in this room, and I mean, you know, Lee said he was being a bit mischievous by saying about across the board politically, but I think we ought to add a caveat in that this committee fully supports that document. Not just that we're accepting it, but we fully support it and recommend it to all councillors, regardless of their views. If you don't like it, tough. Okay.
Then we'll rephrase that. Yeah, we fully support the document. So I'll propose, I've got a seconder. Can we have a vote that this goes to the, it's published at the earliest convenient, please? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Carol, for bringing. Is that all right, Josh? Yeah. Of course.
May I, on behalf of the Leader, thank the committee for its wholehearted support and its words and kind words and the support it's had, and I'll relay those to him at the best opportunity.
Thank you, Phil. We appreciate that. We'll move on to agenda item 11, the corporate enforcement policy. I believe that's you again, Phil.
Yeah.
Thank you.
While I'm here, I might as well give you a hard time. And once again, start by thanking Aisha for the production of this. This has been a three-stage production of the and a complete revision of the corporate enforcement policy. The three-stage, it's gone to housing, it's gone to environment, and now it's gone to rural, so it's gone to everybody who can imaginable, and it now goes to Cabinet unless there are any amendments put forward by this committee. And this committee is looked to consider it, the policy, and make comments if necessary, or where they believe it's necessary. As I say, it was last reviewed in 2017, so it's a long time in producing a revision of it, and it's a complete revision for which Aisha has been largely responsible, but it's covered a large number of departments. It covers, as you see on 2.3, public protection, includes environmental health, environmental protection, private sector housing, community safety, neighbourhoods and licensing, development management, building control, finance and tenancy services. And they've all had an input into this to make sure that they are fully on board with its requirements and its requisition, so on. And the policy also includes three special policies that exist: environmental crime enforcement policy, environmental services enforcement policy, and private sector housing enforcement policy, and each of these appear as an appendix in your papers today. So the policy is a wide-ranging document, but the idea is for consistency right across the council when it's looking at enforcement, so that one department doesn't seem to be outstripping another department, that they work along the same lines. And those lines are not to seek to enforce by legal methods quickly, but to do it gradually. So we take steps to make sure that we don't get to that, and only if we are not making any progress in other ways do we ever get to that enforcement situation. And that is the policy at the head of it, or the idea at the head of this. I endorse the policy, I put it to you, but by all means, if you have any changes that you wish to make, mention them to us at this stage, because it will be going to Cabinet in November, is it? No, December, sorry. So it's going to Cabinet in the next stage of its, fourth stage policy. And thank you to everybody who's been involved. Thank you much indeed.
Thanks, Councillor Knowles. Thank you for presenting. Aisha, if I may kick off again, sorry, I can't see you past Tim. It's been a long time since this has been redrafted. Just on the kind of fines and penalty notices, have all those fees been adjusted accordingly to where it should sit? That was the question. So on 126, page 126, they talk about a £70 fine. It's about information, this bit is, that if you fail to or give improper information that around this council tax section. So I'm just wondering if the penalty notices are sitting in the right kind of remit of where they should be, really.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we review fees and charges in terms of the fines every year anyway, so they're either statutory ones that are set or we choose to set them, but they are reviewed annually.
Lovely. And just one more on fees, sorry. I don't know why I've got onto the figures. There's one about fly tipping. A very big bugbear about everyone. And I know that the team does a really good job at finding evidence. Do we then follow it up with fining people that do the fly tipping?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so fly tipping is a big bugbear of us too, and we do take appropriate enforcement action where there is evidence, and there's a range of enforcement that you can take. So within the appendice it refers to a fly tipping penalty matrix, which is something that we want to introduce, and that's on advice from Legal Services Lincolnshire, because fly tipping ranges from a couple of bags to large scale fly tips, and so we want to be proportionate in how we approach that. So the options we have available to us are we can issue a simple caution, and that's when somebody's usually admitted the offence, but it's fairly rare that we do that approach. Fixed penalty notices, you've got two. You've got one for the fly tipping, which is set at £1,000, but for this, that's the maximum. So if we had this in the appendice, it would allow the proportionality. We'd be able to consider if it's a low level one, would it be better to have a lower fine? And that's because when these go to court, they can get stuck in the system, and we're just trying to issue fairness, consistency, and make the system run. So there's the fine of that. Then there's a duty of care fine, which is £600, which is if you don't check where you take your waste or make sure they've got the correct licence. That's for the person that's given the waste. For both of those, they're reduced early payment, so the half price for early payment. And then you've got prosecution. So some of those cases, it's in each case where we've sufficient evidence to take action, it comes to me to make a decision as to what we do with that. So we have to look at the public interest test, the evidential test, all that sort of information is reviewed, and then the officer will recommend a certain action, which can range from fixed penalty, or sometimes we'll go straight to prosecution if it's a large one. There's a number that are going through at the minute, and we have a large case that's going to go hopefully to Crown Court, but these things do take time. So unfortunately, when we do an investigation, from the point of when we investigate to the outcome, it can be a considerable amount of time, unfortunately, and that's just due to the system that we're in.
Sorry, Aisha, if I can just come back on that. So we've all heard in the press of the trucks that are dumped on the A1, and whether that fits our remit or not, I'm never quite sure. But is £1,000 the maximum we could go if it was that, or is that what you're trying to explain to me, that we would use a different way to kind of hit them hard?
So those large-scale fly tips, when they're 20 tonnes or more, it's the Environment Agency that would investigate and take enforcement action, and they wouldn't be issuing a fixed penalty of that regard, I wouldn't think. Those sort of large-scale crimes, it would be prosecution, would be the most proportionate approach.
That's great. It was just in my mind. I never know where it does feel kind of fit, so thank you for that. Councillor Lednam? Oh, sorry, Councillor Moss. Councillor Lednam?
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, fly tipping is a bit of a concern, especially in my ward. The most popular area is Castle Road, where it goes on to Denton Lane. Now, a lot of the farmers all over the rural wards are now making sure that their once open gateways have now got gates in, because that it seems to be the most popular place for fly tippers to tip. But do we actually operate any of the nature cam, CCTV, mobile cameras in popular areas, so we can then try and get enforcement and convictions?
Thank you, Chair. So we have requested some additional funding for some more rural cameras to go out. So we've got 2 legacy ones that need updating, and we've put requesting for funding for that, because we do recognise that, you know, rural locations are vulnerable, and that sort of tool can be beneficial. So I suppose it's a bit of a watch this space kind of situation.
Thank you. Councillor Harrison?
Thank you, Chair. This new policy is very ambitious, and I applaud that. Covers everything. Planning breaches, littering, electrical safety, but where I have a query, and I'm hoping somebody can allay my fears on this, I think Phil touched on it when he was mentioning it about it, is it relies on each department's discretion and reading of the rules, and I'm concerned that if there's to be a corporate policy on it, it needs to be, I might be missing this, it needs to be clearer. Otherwise, one team could escalate something further than another team might, and you know, on a similar case. So I'm just wondering, am I missing something on it? Is there something in place that will stop that, Phil? Sorry.
Shall I start then? Yeah. Do you want to take it?
Aisha?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. So the amount of legislation that we cover is vast, and it's across all different areas. In environmental health, there's 50 plus bits of legislation. So to have a process for each in there would be too ambitious. This is overarching, so it's make sure we proportionate, we consider evidence, but there should be processes that we have for officers. So when they're doing an investigation, they will follow a process. So, for example, statutory nuisance. When you deal with that case, if an officer deems it as a statutory nuisance, and that depends on the evidence we gather, then we have a duty to take action. So there's certain laws that require certain things, and there's processes for that. But when this has been adopted, we can have a conversation with all those enforcing officers and make sure everybody's happy and comfortable that they understand the policy, but also what their requirements are in relation to that, if you like, if that would be beneficial.
Yeah, it's just trying to get...
Sorry, Tim, can you just put your mic up?
Sorry, yeah, so that all interpretation is on a similar sort of level, if you know what I mean. Because it's so easy, isn't it? If you're working on that and you're working in that department, and to read something different to how somebody else would read it. So it's just trying to get that some level of parity.
Thank you. Councillor Knowles, did you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Just on the last point about fly tipping, just to note that SKDC is leading a Lincolnshire-wide research into this and changing policy. So Aisha is being asked to lead that for the county. Is it just all the county, or just the south part of the county. But Asia is being asked to lead that and to do trials and considerations in order to lead the county in its wider implications in terms of fly tipping, which is recognised across the county, I think, as being a nuisance, so that they're looking at ways to try and tackle it in a more constructive way.
Aisha, did you want to add?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so this came through the Environmental Crime Partnership because Lincolnshire Legal Services is one of our vast amount of partners on that, and they made that recommendation for a fly tipping matrix. So South Kesteven is trialling that, and I will feed that back in as Chair to the partnership. So we're trialling something, and I've also been approached by Newark and Sherwood for the actual matrix, so it's something that looks like other partners may start to consider to outside to look into it.
That's really good news, though, Aisha, because it does identify that we're on it, you know, and that's what we need to be, really, because it's such a nightmare, and we're such a rural district, you know. I'll stop talking fly. Any other comments? Councillor Morgan?
Sorry, thank you. I've got a few completely different subjects. If I may, first of all, I noticed, because actually we're being chair of planning, enforcement's hugely important in the planning arena, but I think it's a more specialised area. I noticed that we refer to the Development Management Enforcement Policy Planning Control as a lower level policy in here. So have we actually looked at that in relation to this? Because we haven't yet actually. I raised this at housing. We've not yet, to my knowledge, been involved in this. But if you need us to have a quick look, I'm sure we could do that if necessary, and feed back to you before the cabinet meeting. There was that point. The next thing is on page 134. We're talking about the age. Unfortunately, well, it's actually, I consider it an absolute blessing. We've got 3 parks in my ward, and antisocial behaviour is a big issue, and it doesn't stop under 16s. And my understanding is that actually legally, somebody could be prosecuted actually from age 10. What we're saying in here is a very, very softly approach. Now, I totally endorse that for 99.9999% of the cases. But I think that we should be referring to working, shall we say, with other parties as well. We talk about schools and parents, but I do think it's important that we build into this, if necessary, working with other parties. If I phrase it like that, I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking maybe police, it might be social services, it might be whoever, but that there is a lot of the issues we're getting are actually from younger children, unfortunately. I just think it's important that we've got that flexibility in there. If I could just say that.
Can I get Aisha just to answer that point? Is that right, Councillor Morgan?
Thank you. Yep, I can answer both if you like as well, because I have an update on both. So in terms of antisocial behaviour and that, because it's quite a broad, there are individual processes in relation to that, and there's we work in partnership with Safer Lincolnshire partnership, then the police, and there's a young persons protocol. So there is a process, but this wouldn't. It's very. It's more broad. This would be, but we could probably put a sentence in maybe just to make that clearer in that part. Yeah, happy to take that away and do that.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Did you want to continue? Sorry, Charmaine.
It was to do with the landlord fines on page 154. As rents have gone up, what did strike me, and it kind of touches a bit on your question earlier about fly tipping, I could see in some circumstances that these fines are, you know, there could be people could be paying £1,800 a month in rents for a house, certainly. I just wonder, are these legal penalties that are set by government? So actually we can't do anything about them. Just wanted to understand that, or have we got a bit of flexibility there?
Aisha?
I believe they're set by government. So we do the fees and charges every year. They're set within that, and we would review them, but they're set by government, and that's why we've utilised those.
Thank you. Any other points, Charmaine? No? Any other comments? No? Are we all happy? So I think there's just that one line, Aisha. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you, Chair. It's just on the planning related one, because planning is very detailed, and they have a specific policy, and I've spoken to Emma Whittaker and they're looking at reviewing that, so it might be the planning policy is something that is sort of considered separately, so that's why it's linked to and not gone into a lot of detail on this, because it'd be a very, very large document, I think, if we did that. So I think there'll be an opportunity coming up to feed back on the actual development, planning development policy.
Of course, yes.
Thank you. In that case, thank you very much for that. What I'll do as Chair of Planning is we'll take it away as an action point for the committee. Thank you, and Emma.
Thank you. Aisha, just want to say thank you for this. It must be such a hard document to write when it's covering such wide spectrum of things where we need the information but not to go too in depth. So yes, thank you for that. It was a document I could understand very easily, which is where my level is sometimes when it's covering a lot of things. So thank you. I think again that's just the noting, and I appreciate you taking that kind of comment away from Councillor Morgan. So anything else? Are we all right? No? So we'll move on to agenda item 12, the work programme. I do know we've got a few things that we've already kind of put back on and moved around, and so I know we've got a presentation from Phil. Is that on for December? Looking at Josh now because he's my right-hand man here. This is where I get confused. Yes. So that's on there. Yeah. So, Armed Forces update, is that correct, Carol? Happy to bring that?
Can it be in the name of Debbie Nichols rather than in my name, because it will be her report?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can we also make sure that we invite our Armed Forces, I won't say ambassador, officer, champion, please, as well, for that meeting? Thank you. Councillor Leadenham?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up something I mentioned to you this morning about on the meeting in, I know we're way away, but in January the 13th, I think it is, about inviting this committee to the environment meeting for the Grantham Canal Society doing a presentation, and I believe SK are doing their own presentation on their stretch of the canal as well, just for put the work programme.
Yeah, I'd quite like to do that. Rather than doing a combined, we thought if we just, I'm going to have to ask the Chair of Environment, Elvis, if we can kind of gate crash. But instead of getting the canal representatives to do two presentations, because I do think it fits within our remit as well as environment, I was going to ask if we can go and sit in for that. But leave that one with me. I will get back to you all and send you all an email about that one. I'm sure it'll be fine. But I just want to be polite and ask Elvis about that. So thank you for that. Any other things that we want to bring or want to discuss that's on the plan? Councillor Morgan, I know I pushed back your health scrutiny update. Will you be able to bring a quick thing for December? Yeah, just let us know. That's fine. I mean, it looks a full agenda, but I don't want to keep pushing you back because I'm interested to know what is happening down there. Thank you. Josh?
Yeah, just to note a couple of ones that Aisha's put forward. We've got an updated street trading policy and a food health and safety enforcement work plan. I believe definitely the street trading policy needs to go to the December meeting, and then I think the other one we'll take away, put on the work programme and see at the agenda setting meeting if there's enough room on the agenda for that, if that's all right. Thank you.
Lovely. If we're all happy, Councillor Leadenham?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The deadline for the street trading policy is December. That's when the 6 months is up. Is that correct?
it's up in January, so we'll have sufficient time to take it to Cabinet in January.
That's lovely. No further then, that's lovely. Item 13, any other urgent business? I haven't got any. Does anyone else? Councillor Harrison?
Thank you, Chair. It's not urgent business as such, it's just a query with my governance hat on. It's an overview and scrutiny committee, and at the start of each one of these things, it said this is just for noting. I think that wording's a bit what's the word? I think it's very flaky. Note and provide feedback is file and forget in my head. I think maybe we could change the wording on that. You know, it's the report, make any recommendations, stuff like that. You know, it just seems a bit flaky for an overview and scrutiny committee to note and provide feedback.
Yeah, point taken. We'll think of something and I'll run it past. All right, thank you. So if there's nothing else, thank you very much. I will draw the meeting to a close. Thank you for joining us. Thank